Well, hello everybody and welcome back to Bosses Only, the video series where we look at just the bosses from a dungeon, because you're not stuck on trash, you're stuck on bosses. From the Ascending Tide DLC, this is Shipwright's Regret. After you've killed the first couple of big trash bags in here, run into this hut and go down this little trapdoor to encounter secret boss number 1, the Lost Maiden, who's a very angry old lady. Let's go beat her up. Fairly standard stuff. Tank, as always, taunt her, turn her away from the group. She's got a big scream that she'll do. It's like a 𝕊𝕌𝔹𝕊𝒑𝕂𝒑. There it is. You want to block that and break free if you get hit. That can actually one-shot anyone weaker than a tank, so be very careful of it. After you've beat her up a little bit, she's going to split into 3 copies of herself, which will be dotted around the room in a fidget spinner formation, and the lady in the middle will be invincible. So everybody kill one of the copies, or you can all go together and kill them one at a time. Either way that you do it, they all do exactly the same stuff as the boss, so watch out for that big scream, and watch out for the little ice willies that she spawns, because they will explode if you don't destroy them. It's about to happen now, just watch out for that. There it is. Make sure you block for that explosion, otherwise you'll take a whole bunch of damage. But that's it, that's the entire fight. She's got the scream, she's got the ice willies that explode, and she splits into these copies of herself. Once you've killed all 3 copies, the boss in the middle will be damageable again, so go finish her off. If it does take a while, she'll split into the 3 and you'll have to do this phase again. But as long as you stay on top of her and throw all your damage and ultis at her, you'll have no problem, and there'll be no chance of her splitting for a second time, because you'll have her killed. And, I mean, that's it. So, here's some ice willies. As you can see, they will explode after a while if they're not destroyed. There's that scream again. Tank needs to be blocking, and she is defeated. We got some kind of buff. That's super very dank. Let's loot our lockpicks and head through this portal, which will lead us, let's turn on hard mode of course, to the first proper boss, Foreman Braddigan. And in my opinion, he is the toughest of the 3 on hard mode in here. If this is where you're stuck, comment below. Let's begin. Start as always, tank by taunting him and turning him away from the group. You want to have him so that your back is to a wall or the gate, the exit there, and have the boss facing you, because he's going to charge at you. Here he is doing it now. Each time he does this, a ghost will spawn. There's one for each player. They tether to you and put a debuff on you that makes you weaker, so you really need to get rid of them. You also need to get rid of these flame ladies. They spawn periodically throughout the fight, and they do a big swirly fire tornado thing and shoot machine gun bullets of death at you. They've got to be destroyed. Tank, you can chain those in, get them close to the boss, and they can be taken out in splash damage. Otherwise, just keep focusing on the boss and keep him face towards the door, because again, every time he charges, you can stop him dead just there without having everything spread out across the room. Here is a ghost for every player again, and again, we're going to have to deal with those. Now, another mechanic that you're going to want to look out for is when you've gotten the boss down to 60% of his health, the boss is going to disappear and he's going to spawn a great big beefy muscle man, which you're going to have to fight instead. Everybody gets a poo circle around them. Do not overlap with other players. This big guy is also going to thump the ground to create a continually growing giant circle of poo that you're going to want to back up and avoid. Now, remember, those flame ladies can spawn even during this, so tank, make sure you're chaining them. Keep the boss's attention on you, and everybody needs to kill this guy as quickly as possible, because while you have this poo circle on you, you are progressively taking more and more damage. There's the big poo circle in the middle, which he keeps spawning. Boss himself has a couple of big conal swings. You don't want anyone but the tank to be in front of him. Get him taken down as quickly as possible, and keep your eyes on the ground at all times. Don't be stuck in that circle of giant poo, and don't overlap with another player. Everybody stay spread out. Tank, make sure you're chaining in the fire ladies, and once you've killed him, the boss will be back. Now, from this point on, we get this mechanic, Soul Bomb. A person is going to have this circle growing around them, and a second player needs to stand in that circle with them. If nobody is in the circle with them when it explodes, that person will die. Now, let's talk about the paralyzing fear mechanic as well, which happens periodically. The boss will spawn a giant growing circle underneath him. Once it grows to max, it explodes, here it is, and 4 smaller circles come swirling out. Dodge roll toward the boss, do not dodge roll away, because if one of those circles hits you, you will be stunned and feared, and the circle that hits you will split into 4 even smaller circles, which then radiate out away from you, and if they hit a player, that player will be stunned and feared, and the circle will split into 4, and it ends up just ricocheting all around the room and creating an absolute nightmare that absolutely will get you wiped. So be very careful. Anytime you see paralyzing fear starting, you need to dodge roll toward him just as the circle fills. Now, when you get the boss down to about 30% health, he's going to disappear again, and another great big muscular beefcake is going to come. This is exactly the same thing as before, but this time, even more of these flame ladies will spawn. They'll spawn much more rapidly. Tank, make sure you're taunting them and chaining them in as best you can. They've got to go, because once they start firing bullet after bullet, the damage ramps up, and people will get killed. Stay on top of them. Everybody avoid the big poo circle. Make sure that you kill that big guy as quickly as possible, and Soul Bomb is back. Now, after this phase, 2 people will get Soul Bomb each time it happens, so 2 players are going to get that circle under their feet that grows, and the 2nd person and 4th person need to get in the circles with them, otherwise they will die. Here are the circles. Make sure you get in with the other person, and then everybody survives. Paralyzing Fear, make sure you're dodge rolling. We got hit there and it split, but everybody managed to avoid it. This final execute phase of the fight is pretty hectic. We've got Flame Ladies spawning constantly, we've got Paralyzing Fear happen, of course the boss charges, which then spawns a ghost for each player that will weaken you, so they've got to be watched out for. You can try to just deal with them and keep your eye on this Soul Bomb mechanic instead, but make sure you are damaging the boss as quickly as possible, because this is constant for the rest of the fight and any number of things can go wrong. Soul Bomb, make sure you stand with another player. Paralyzing Fear, make sure you dodge roll and avoid those swirly things, otherwise this happens, they ricochet all over the place, and that can cause problems too. We've almost got the boss now, but as you can see, it really is hectic, and players need to stand together for Soul Bomb so that nobody dies. Another charge, we didn't have him facing a wall, so as you can see he's gone halfway across the room and the ghosts are everywhere. That's never easy, but it can of course happen, so just be careful. And try your best, Tank, to keep the boss facing a wall at all times so that he doesn't get too far and all the ghosts are clustered close together. Another Soul Bomb. Just that last little push. We very nearly got him now. And there we go. He is defeated. Loot your lockpick, star metal and manganese, and we are going to make our way to the next side boss. You'll see this waterfall run through the tunnel underneath it and go into the misty tunnel to encounter side boss number 2, the Shrouded Axeman. Typical side boss style stuff. Again, Tank, taunt him, turn him away from the group, everybody start beating him up. This bloke likes to disappear, and when he does that, a bunch of lightning men will appear that put poo circles all over the floor. Here they are. Just interrupt these guys as quick as you can. They don't die, you just have to bash them or use crushing shock to interrupt them, and then watch out for these circles that are left on the ground, because after a while they will grow and explode. Boss is back. He's going to summon a couple of wolves and they will charge at 2 random people. You'll see like a circle under their feet. All you need to do is block, or you can dodge roll, but blocking honestly is better and then it doesn't do too terribly much damage. Just keep working on the boss while he smacks the tank. Watch out and dodge any dogs, and when he disappears, interrupt any lightning men. And again, stay away from these circles. You can see they grow, they burst, and it does a bunch of damage. So just be careful of those. But this is a pretty straightforward fight. Honestly, a lot of it is just a waiting game after you've interrupted the boys for him to reappear. Circles grow and explode. Make sure you're not in any of them. You can see how big they get compared to how big they are when they start out. And that is literally what this fight is. It's just attack the man goes away, here's some lightning men, interrupt them, the man comes back, maybe he fires a couple of dogs at you, maybe the dogs bark at you, maybe they bite you, I don't know. But what I do know is I've told you all the mechanics for this fight now, and yeah, so you just have to finish the fight. So are you watching 200 years after this video was made? What's it like in the future? Comment below. Not that I'll be able to read it, I'm long dead, but anyway, hi. So, looks like he's almost dead. There we go, super dank, go and loot your lockpicks, and of course you've got some kind of nice shiny buff, and then we can head through this portal over here, which will magically teleport us to the next proper boss, and of course, let's turn on the hard mode. This is boss number 2, Nazaray. Tank, you know the drill. Taunt her, turn her away from everybody else. Everybody else, start shooting her. After you've beat her up a little bit, she's going to summon a couple of ads. Tank, chain those in. They can get taken down with splash damage. She likes to shoot a little ball at the tank repeatedly. She also does this. Watch all these spreading circles on the floor and get out of them, or hold block until eventually there's one really, really big one at the end. There it is. Make sure you're not in those. Tank, beware of the ultra mega smack. You'll see Nazaray swinging her big staff around and then she cracks it down on you. You need to be blocking. That is a one-shot. Now this, Untamed Kindred, is the most dangerous mechanic. The boss will slam her staff down and she spawns in each corner of the room a little ad. Go and kill 2 of them on hard mode. You need to kill them as quickly as possible, because once these cones spread out, there's a big explosion, and if you're in it, you will die. The ad you kill creates a safe area on the opposite side, so the 2 opposite each other are the ones that need to die, either entrance and exit or the other 2 sides of the rooms. Make sure that you kill the 2 facing each other as quickly as possible. That'll create safe places for you to stand in. Again, we've got the big circles, and now she's gone into this invincible phase where she turns blue, and every couple of seconds she'll put a blue circle on the floor, which while she's standing in it, she will be invincible. So you have to start moving, Tank. You have to start leading her around the room so that she isn't ever standing in one of these blue circles. If she's in one, she's undamageable. If she's out of it, she'll take damage. So you've got to keep her moving. She's also going to summon lurchers, fanny flowers, and more wasps. So make sure you're taking those out as quickly as possible, because during Untamed Kindred, you don't want extra ads attacking you. You need to focus exclusively on that little ad that needs to be killed to create the safe area to avoid the big explosion. That's the worst thing about this fight. Now, Tank, also you need to make sure you're not too far away from Nazaray while leading her around, or she throws a really high-powered ball of poo at you that can kill you if you're not blocking. Untamed Kindred again. We've got to make sure that we're taking out these little ads as quickly as possible. That way we've got a clear space to stand in, the big explosion happens, and we all survive. Lovely jubbly. Back on Nazaray. She's going to remain in this blue phase for the rest of the fight now, so Tank, you can never stay still. You've got to keep leading her around, but again, remember, don't be too far away from her. You want to find that sweet spot where she'll chase you, but she won't throw her ranged ball of poo at you, which can indeed kill you. Keep an eye out for ads, watch out for all the rain coming down, look out for any poos that are sliding across the floor and avoid being hit, and just keep focusing on Nazaray as best as you can. So, at this point, I guess I've told you all the mechanics again. So hi again, future people from 200 years from now. Do we have flying cars yet? We were promised those by, like, 2015, according to Back to the Future 2, but that didn't happen, so another 200 years? Do we have flying cars? Comment below. Untamed Kindred happening again. Watch out for all the poo sliding across the floor and focus down those little ads as quickly as humanly possible. You really don't have long before the cone has spread across the entire room and the explosion happens. Hopefully we can get Nazaray finished off now. Tank again, she's turned blue and places those invincibility circles under her feet. You need to keep her moving. Don't let her stand in those or she won't take any damage. Group again, remember you can dodge away from these raining yellow circles, or you can just hold still and block and you should be okay. Got a few more ads up that we need to take out. The ads can get very annoying and overwhelming, so do make sure you're staying on top of them, because during Untamed Kindred, as I said, you really don't want extra ads attacking you. It is a nightmare. Just keep leading her around. Tank, watch out for the big heavy swing that she does and make sure you're blocking that, because if it hits you, you are likely to be one-shot, and that is not a fun time for anybody. Almost got her. There we go, very dank. Loot your lockpicks and manganese, and we're going to make our way to the third and final secret boss, the Storm-Cursed Sailor. Standard side boss fare again. Tank, taunt him, turn him away from the group. Everybody else start shooting him. He will pick a random person and put a great big giant circle on them. Here it is on Cat. This is just a heal check. You just need to heal, and a healer can do that, honestly, if you have a healer with you. Otherwise, spam your own self-heal, just stay alive, and don't run around and run it over other people, because you'll kill them. Now, it's important, Tank, that you have the boss facing into the platform and not towards the sea, because you don't want him hitting you and knocking you into the water. It's full of slaughterfish and electricity, and you'll die. Make sure when he does that big heavy attack, because even if you're blocking, you get knocked flying, make sure your back is to the platform so that you get knocked inward and not outward. Now, the boss likes to do a teleport attack where he jumps all around the room to different locations with lightning explosions everywhere. When he is doing that, just hold still and block. If you chase him or run around, you'll end up getting killed. Just stay still and block and wait until he finishes jumping around. During this last little bit, he's in complete electrical lightning form like a sorcerer, and if you're too close to him, you'll be taking a lot of damage, but it's not too much, you'll be fine. Just remember, when he's teleporting around, that is when you need to hold still and block, and if you have the lightning poo on you, it's a heal check. Just stay still, out-heal it, and don't run it over others. There we go, very dank, he's dead. Get your lockpicks and your buff, and we'll go turn on hard mode for the final boss, Captain Numirril. Now, Tank, taunt him as quickly as possible, otherwise he's going to pick a random person to charge out, which is his opening move always, and keep him turned away from everybody else. Everybody else start shooting him. For the first little bit of the fight, it's not too terrible. He does have this move though, Jet, where he will zoom away, and as soon as he does this to a random place, circles are going to appear all over the floor. This spout move is awful. You do not want to be caught in those circles. When they explode, you will die. Just kite around, do a bit of fancy feet until it's over, then you can get back to attacking him. After you've damaged him a little bit, he will become invincible. He goes and dances on a pillar of water out there in the sea, and he summons all these little boys that love to throw cowpats all over the floor. You can interrupt them or kill them, And watch out for these tidal waves that roll across the arena. Any cowpats that they hit will be cleaned up, but after a good bit of time, these cowpats expand and explode, so you don't want to be near them. You want to watch out for them, but let them get washed away by the tidal wave things, and wait for this big beefcake to spawn. He is going to pick a random person and chase them. Tank, you can taunt him, and eventually he'll come back to you, but he will always pick a random player in the group, could be anyone, and chase them, no matter where they are. So watch out for that, just keep him taunted. Watch out also when this beefcake does this mega thump on the floor, he will spawn hella cowpats all over the place, and if you are taking a direct hit from that slam, you will die, so just be careful of it and keep a distance. Once you've got this beefcake killed, the boss will be back for round 2, where it's more of the same. He'll charge across the room, and then he will do the spout, so you need to fancy feet around and watch out for them. He's going to constantly be summoning these little ads that spawn cowpats. Here we've got the spout happening again, so watch under your feet, get out of those circles. If you are in it, it's over. So that was a whoopsie and a practice, but that's okay, we'll have a res in no time. Everyone else, just keep watching out for the cowpats, dodge roll or block when these tidal waves come. The good thing about the tidal waves is they clean up any cowpats in their path. Bad thing about them is they hurt like hell and will knock you all over the place. So just keep focusing on ads. If you don't want too many of these cowpats, you can take them out. It doesn't take a lot to kill them. And you can bash them as well to stop them from throwing cowpats. Everyone else, just keep focusing on the boss. For the tank, he's got a great big circle AoE where he will slam down on the floor. You can interrupt him or you can dodge roll out of it. It doesn't do too much damage. We've got the spouts again. Again, remember, fancy feet. Just watch under your feet. Don't be caught in those or it is over. And just keep focusing on the boss. And any ads that spawn too, remember, you can interrupt them or you can kill them. It doesn't take a lot to kill them, and it will make your life a lot easier because they're constantly throwing these little poo balls out and spawning cowpats all over the place. Watch out for the tidal waves. Don't get hit by those or you will be knocked off balance and you'll have to break free. Some of those cowpats just exploded. That can be really bad if you're caught in those, so you do need to beware. Any cowpats that don't get cleaned up after a while, they will explode. A few more ads. We've got the spout happening again, so just run around. Don't let yourself get caught in any of those circles. And that is basically the rhythm of the fight. It's a whole lot of these little ads, a whole lot of cowpats to avoid. Watch out for the tidal waves and be careful of the spouts underneath your feet because those can absolutely kill you in a single hit. Well, that's all the mechanics explained again. It's just various different things to watch out for. The spouts under your feet when he charges across the room, get away from him. If he does the big huge circle, make sure you get out of it or interrupt him. Watch out for the tidal waves that roll across the room or you'll get knocked flying. Be careful of all the cowpats. Don't be too close to them if they've been there for a while because they could expand and explode at any time. Now when you get the boss pretty close to death, he's going to become invincible and go dancing on his pillar of water in the sea again, and this time he's going to summon 2 of these big huge beefcakes, so you'll need to deal with them. And again, they've got the same mechanic as before. They will pick a random person and chase them and swing at them. So the tank, you can taunt them. Eventually they'll make their way back to you. But before they're even killed, the boss is going to come back down and rejoin the fight too. So tank, you're going to have to taunt him and maintain taunt on these 2 beefcakes. For the rest of the group, if an accident happens, get reses as quickly as you can. Keep watching out for the cowpats. Here's a bunch expanding and exploding. You definitely don't want to be in those. The tidal wave will take out any through the middle of the arena as it rolls through. Try to get at least one of these big beefcakes killed to make life easier for the tank because they are absolutely brutal. And while it's not so bad when they chase somebody and go running off across the room, eventually if they're not killed they will make their way back to the tank as long as he's keeping taunt, which he absolutely should because you don't want those things running loose and attacking everybody. There really is a lot to look out for during this final phase of the fight, especially all these lovely cowpats. So, future people in the future, do you still use cowpats for fertilizer for crops, or like have we got Star Trek replicators now? Comment below, lol. And another whoopsie, let's see if we can get that res. And another one over here. As I've said, this is pretty tough. There's so much stuff all over the floor that accidents like this can happen literally at any time. You've just got to be very careful, watch your footing, get away from anything bad and not accidentally open your map. And that really is it for the rest of the fight. Just watch out for all that stuff all over the floor. Try to take out at least 1 beefcake, both if you can do it, but definitely at least 1 to make life easier for the tank, and then it's just worry about the boss. Dodge all the things that are all over the floor. Watch out for the cowpats, interrupt any of these little guys that throw out the cowpats. Dodge or avoid those big explosions when they happen from the cowpats that have been there for a while. Look out for the tidal wave things that roll across the floor. See, it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. But don't worry too much, don't panic, don't go crazy running around the place, just watch your footing and you'll be fine. See if we can get this res, another whoopsie, that was practice and nobody saw. Almost got the boss now, and it looks like we almost got one of those big beefcakes down as well, which is good because they really are quite terrible. Got the other beefcake is chasing after Mrs. Brito, our healer now. And it's good that Cat is going around taking out these guys because they are a nightmare. Every time they channel and throw poo, they also throw these little balls that hit you, and each one does more damage than the last. It gets quite terrible. It can easily take out the group, so it's always worth interrupting or killing those little guys if you can. And again, keep your eyes on the ground. You don't want to get caught unawares by spout or the tidal waves or any of that stuff. Now, if you need to, you can run through these cow paths because they won't do too much damage, but you don't want to be hanging around near them because they will slow you, and of course they expand and explode after a while. Last little hair of his health, and oh no, we've had a whoopsie. Fortunately for us, we've got a Dark Lady Jupiter to help us finish the job, and she's a Scotswoman, which guarantees victory. Super Dank, he is dead, so let's loot our lockpicks and other junk, after we're out of ghost form of course, and yeah, that's it. So as always, like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a video. You can also follow us over on X, which is X right there, and then Instagram, well, you won't see me, but you'll see Cat there, and YouTube, you will see me here, because you're here right now, and of course, check out the stream at twitch.tv/𝕃𝕀𝕂𝔼. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Bosses Only!